Welcome to AnglingBuzz, brought to you by Fleet Farm. I'm Troy Lindner. On today's show, we're going to be talking about summertime crappie strategies. Now, just like every fish, crappie can make dramatic seasonal movements. During the springtime, a lot of anglers target them in shallow water bays. During the ice season, this is a favorite of a lot of anglers because in these deep water basins, they can school up big time. And currently, we're in mid-July. We're getting into the dog days of summer. And this can also be a great time to find and catch crappie, especially in deep weed lines. On today's show, our guest is Matt Johnson. He does some guiding around the Minneapolis area. So Matt, thank you for joining us this week. How is the season progressing for you?
You know, Troy, it's been a lot of fun. You know, we're seeing some rapidly increasing water temperatures here in the Twin Cities, much like much of Minnesota. We're really excited. We got a lot of things happening later this month. The Blackfish Classic, as you know, a giant bass tournament there on Lake Minnetonka. Super excited for that. We're seeing summer patterns, which is awesome. It's funny because I feel like we've been right from winter to summer. There wasn't a whole lot of spring, but I'm amped up. I'm ready for this summer season to keep on going.
Well, Matt, I'd like to get some information from you about summertime weed line fishing for crappie. Where are you looking for crappie right now?
You know, that's a good question. You know, crappie fishing in the spring for a lot of anglers is relatively simple, right? You find the warm water, you find these back cuts, these shallow bays, things where there's some emergent vegetation. It's not hard to find crappies in the springtime and have a lot of success. But in the summertime, they move, they school up, they migrate. They're chasing around baitfish on the weed lines. They're finding sanctuary in deeper water, all that sort of stuff. So as I move into the summer months, I look at where I found these fish in the spring, relocate to a deeper weed line, inside turns, deeper weed clumps, whether it's coontail, you have a variety of weed types in the lakes you might fish, but here in the Twin Cities, it's deeper coontail. A lot of these crappies are either in the thick weeds in, let's say, 8 to 12 feet, or they've moved out and they're gonna be out there in that deeper structure. And then you can find them that way most of the summertime.
Now, Matt, I know you spend a lot of time on Minnetonka and different metro lakes. How does wind and weather affect those fish?
You know, it's funny you asked. I just had a great conversation with a guide client about how these pressured bodies of water in the Twin Cities dictate how the bite is. So these pressure waters, you can definitely see a change in fishing behavior. If it's stagnant, dead calm water, I tend to struggle to get a good bite. But if I get a little bit of a wind, the weeds down below are just ever so slightly moving around. It stops those fish from seeing us, from seeing anything that might trigger them to not bite. So wind can definitely play to our advantage. And again, pay attention to your electronics. That's going to tell you where these fish are. I can promise you there's not one crappie in a spot. You're going to see a school of them on a specific area, and you know you're going to get bit.
Now, speaking of baits, what are some of the best presentations and techniques to catch these fish?
You know, there's a lot of ways to catch crappies. A lot of anglers start with live bait, whether it's a live crappie minnow, a small leech, something to that effect. I'm not big on live bait. I usually go out there and target them with plastics. That's what I'm chasing these fish down the most. And I kind of have a 1-2 approach. I either use a twister tail, because I can fan cast it, I can work that bait down. Just like if you're jig one fishing for bass, a lot of your strikes come on the fall when that bait's going down into the strike zone. That's where that twister tail will come into play. I can pitch this out on a weed line, feed some line out, and watch that bait fall right down to that strike zone. So I always tell anglers to visualize, if I'm fishing crappies in 18 feet of water, a lot of those fish are probably going to be in the bottom 5 feet. So picture where that bottom 5 foot zone is. You don't want to cast at the structure, flip your bail, and start retreating, because your bait's going to pendulum back to the boat. You're going to miss that strike zone. So I'm going to cast on that weed line. I'm going to pull a little line out. I'm going to let that twister tail flutter down. This is a great combination to be a search presentation. I can cover water quick. I can fish shallow. I can fish deep. I can fish in the pocket. I can rip it out of weeds, and I can be very aggressive. Now that's oftentimes my search bait. Then when I get down into the nitty gritty, if I'm going to vertically fish some of these fish or slow down and work pockets in the weeds, I'm going to switch more to a minnow style flick bait that's got that rat tail, that minnow tail. And this is a little quicker approach, but I can slow down my rod. I can hold my rod up and watch that bait pendulum down and dart around like a minnow. So that tends to be my 1-2 approach. A lot of anglers also fish a tube. A tube is a phenomenal way to catch crappies. That'll slow things down even more. So if you're fishing in heavier vegetation, heavier cover, I'd encourage you to fish a tube. So there's a whole array of plastics, a whole array of options to catch fish. But that's kind of my 1-2 punch to get these summertime crappies to go.
Okay. And last question, what about boat control?
Oh, Troy, boat control is everything. You know, a lot of anglers don't give enough importance to boat control. What it does, it gives you the opportunity to catch fish. If you can't present your bait to where the fish are, you're not going to catch them. So boat control is very important. Oftentimes I move up to where the fish are. If I can spot lock and stay on them, I'll go to the back of the boat and I'll fan cast to where the fish are. But a lot of times in the summer, I'm watching them on my active target and they're moving. They're little roamers. They're roaming around in little schools and packs. So I'm roaming with them. So I'm oftentimes foot on the Minn Kota, moving along a weed line, targeting where these fish are, trying to catch as many as I can before the school moves on, and that's just the name of the game. Crappie fishing in the summer, absolute riot. Fun time to catch them. They do put up a fight. Downsize your stuff to give you that extra entertainment when you're catching fish, and you'll get a lot more bites and have a lot more fun. Good luck catching the crappies this summer. Good chat with you, Troy.
Thanks, Matt, for your time today, and good luck this season. Well, stay with us. After a short commercial break, we have more Angling Buzz.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Sign up for Fleet Rewards for exclusive offers and deals. Earn points every time you shop. 500 points gets you a $5 reward. It's free and easy to sign up, in-store or online. Plus, earn rewards even faster with the Fleet Rewards credit card. Get 4 times the points every time you use your Fleet Rewards credit card. Start shopping and start saving even more with Fleet Rewards at Fleet Farm.
Lake Vermilion. Explore. Relax. Reconnect.
Minnesota's most beautiful lake.
Get hooked on our trophy walleye,
That's a beauty.
bass,
My favorite fish.
musky fish.
That's a beauty there.
Things to do? You'll never get bored.
Rooms with a view? We got 'em.
Lake Vermilion. 4 seasons of fun.
Developed from the latest technology, Blackfish Technical Apparel outperforms, so anglers have gear that they can trust in, no matter the conditions.
The Deep V jig from Northland Tackle. Light 'em up with this proven performer. The Deep V sports a keel design that gets you down faster and straighter. It also features 3D eyes that, along with its unique colors and sizes, gives you the edge for when the bite gets tough. And the barbed wire keeper keeps your bait tight for more casts and more bites. The Deep V jig from Northland Tackle. We are walleye.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. Up next, it's our timely topics feature. We're going swim jigging for summertime crappie.
Yeah, it's a middle of the day. Little overcast today, a little bit of wind, ideal for fishing. Yeah, you know, these weed line crappies. Where we fish up north here in these natural lakes, the crappie summertime bite revolves totally around the first drop off in the weed line. Some lakes that could be 6 feet of water, some lakes it could be 10 feet of water, some lakes it could be 12, 15 feet of water. But they spend all their time in the summer in and around the weeds. Yeah, you know, low light conditions in that, they'll come up in the weeds. Later in the evening, they'll go down and go out in the basin. Throughout the day, like we're here now, the ideal weed patches are somewhat sparse where the fish can navigate and hunt through there, and you can fish over, around, and through. It just opens up the strike zone for a bunch of fish that are sitting. I don't know how many fish we're casting. It might be 100 fish. I don't know. Then when we move down the weed line, you can get a whole bunch more. But there's plenty of fish to be had in the daytime, but the weed, the density of the weed, the depth of the weeds, all of these come into play. The wind is a plus. The wind is a real plus. You don't want a real windy. In fact, it's about ideal for us here now. Just enough to break it, be comfortable, get the wind to your back. You know, take that Minn Kota. This is, you spot lock on a school of fish like this, and you sit here and go boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Oh, there's a nice one. Man, it's really all about managing how that jig is going through the water. That's the whole secret with this. Gosh, these are really quality fish, not giants, but I mean, that is a great crappie anywhere you go. Just a beautiful, like Al said, thick fish. So I'm gonna cast out again and show you the technique and how you jig fish. So what I've got right now, this is a VMC Neon Moon Eye in a 1/16 of an ounce. For summertime crappies, that 1/16 is a really sweet spot. Right now, Al and I are fishing with plastics. This is that big bite Kamikaze Swimming, and I really like this bait. It's got these little kickers. You can fish it vertically, like I have here, or if you want to slow the presentation down, you can flip it horizontally, and the bait falls really slow, but you get that kick from those tails. And we're fishing a little dirtier water, so that vibration and that profile really seems to help. It's fun. You just feel that little tick. Little tick, and it's nice to have good equipment for this program. You'll notice Al and I, neither one of us are fishing with ultralight stuff. We're fishing with rods that are specifically designed for panfish. I have the new panfish series that St. Croix just came out here with, and I'll explain to you what makes this stick so darn good. I mean, look at that. You think they're hungry? Huh? I'd say they're very, very hungry. Hungry hippos. Okay, so the rod that I'm fishing with, this is a big deal in feeling sensitivity. I've got St. Croix's Panfish series here. This is their 7'3" medium light extra fast. So this is a all new design. If you fish with their Panfish series, you know it's great, but they've done some things with the material to make it an even better product than the previous generation. And that helps a lot with this style of fishing. When you're fishing slack line or very loose line, you're able to pick up those bites. You can feel the line jump. The other thing, now this might not seem like a really big deal to a lot of people, but look at the feet on the guides of this rod. See how far they are away from the blank? Now we're fishing a really lightweight braid, nano braid, and when this gets wet, if the feet get too close, it can actually it has friction on the blank. The line can have friction on the blank, so it's a big deal for throwing little baits further. So all in all, this rod is just designed perfectly. You'll notice that extra fast tip. So I can drag this, you feel that little tick, boom, I'm tight on the fish. It's an absolutely deadly rod for doing this style of fishing.
You got, I'm using your rod here. Is that 4 pound floral on this?
That's
with the
6
nano braid?
pounds, 6 and
6 pounds, okay. They tighten up pretty good too, boy. You can get a lot of fish in a very small, compact area, and when they're biting like this on, you know, you get that spot, you go boom, 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 you catch 3, 4, 5 fish right away. Well, they got such weight on them. Look at the shoulders on them.
They're not really long fish, but they're actually big
real
fish,
healthy.
you know? Yeah,
really healthy.
Yeah, there's many situations where artificial baits like swim jigging can be effective at catching big slab crappie. Well, stay with us after the short commercial break. We have our Buzz Bite reports as Angling Buzz continues.
In 2021, Minnesota watercraft inspectors found that 95% of boaters were doing their best to prevent the spread of aquatic invasive species. In short, drain plugs were removed, no standing water was inside the boat, and no zebra mussels or plants were found on the boat or trailer. Thanks for following these simple habit-forming rules. Clean aquatic plants and animals from boats, trailers, and equipment. Drain all water from motors and live wells. Remove all boat plugs and dispose of unused bait in the trash.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
Hey, Jim Ernster here with this week's AnglingBuzz report for Leech Lake in Walker, Minnesota. Walleye-wise, not a ton has changed. Still doing a lot of slip bobber action. But I tell you what, talking to the smallmouth guys and doing a little smallmouth fishing myself, some of those fish are starting to set up on kind of those rocky areas. It's been a little bit later than we had anticipated, but they're there and they're starting to show themselves a little bit more. In the morning, you can do a little topwater fishing. As the day progresses, you know, we're kind of going more to those traditional tactics. You know, obviously the Ned rig, you know, is going to be something that you're going to want to take care of and put in your arsenal. One thing that I love to do is I love to drop shot. I love these VMC spin shots. You know, I'm not a good drop shot tire, and so when I found these a few years ago, I'm like, that's the ticket for me, and that made it that much easier for me to be confident in my drop shot fishing. The other thing that's going to start to come into play as these water temps pick up is crankbait fishing for walleyes. There gets to be a bite that develops from like Goose Island to Ottertail. Pick your favorite crankbait, chuck it back 100 feet, fire line, and go trolling.
Thanks, Jim. Now let's head north to Lake Vermilion with Billy Rosner.
Hey, we're getting to that time of the year. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to get out early in the morning for the walleye bite. If you can get out on the water at like daybreak to 9 a.m., that's really key right now. Then that last hour in the evening too, before the sun sets, is really important on Vermilion. The good old Lindy rig with a half a crawler, that's pretty tough to beat. Think transitions, think your weed lines. Northerns, they're out on those deeper weed lines, those deeper points, sprinter baits, bucktails like your blue foxes work. And also, don't forget some of your tail dancers, the Rapalas with the big bills. You can cast a lot of those points and those steep transitions for pike. Muskies are pretty much transitioned everywhere. They're out in your deep bays, and they're off those deep weeds, and they're also off those points and those reefs on the lake. So if you're chasing muskies, don't forget those areas. And then just remember too, if you got the wind blowing for a few days into some of these areas, that's a big advantage on Vermilion also. Be safe out there and have a great week.
Thanks, Billy. Now let's jump over to Wisconsin with Jeff Evans.
Summertime patterns in northern Wisconsin are setting up for all kinds of species right now. Water temperatures in the Hayward Lakes area are in the mid to high 70s. Walleyes have pushed out on the deep rock piles, and we're finding those fishing anywhere from 20 to 25 feet of water. Slip bobbers and jigging wraps and herky jerkies have been the best presentations, and we're catching a lot of fish, but you got to be willing to move around a lot. You'll mark them in groups of 5 to 10 fish. You'll maybe pick a couple out of each of those schools, and then you keep on moving to the next rock pile. Smallmouth bass are doing a couple of different things. There's been a really good bite in the mornings in shallow 5 to 10 foot rock shorelines. Even topwaters have been really good, along with Ned rigs and Nico rigs. Crappies have moved out onto the deeper weed edges now. You're going to want to look on most lakes, 8 to 10 feet of water, and those fish are usually suspended, and I usually fish them maybe 5 feet below a slip bobber using a small plastic, or even casting out a small plastic and just kind of slow rolling it in. It's a great time of year to catch fish right now in northern Wisconsin. Get out there and have some fun.
Thanks, Jeff. Now we're going to jump over to Saskatchewan to join Tim Genny, who's been doing a little shore fishing.
Oh, look at this. Oh my God, a great big pike just grabbed this walleye that I'm reeling in. Holy mackerel. You guys, you're not going to believe this. I just had a small walleye on here on the spinach jig, and a great big, and I mean big, northern pike just grabbed that walleye. I don't know if I'm going to get him in here, but it was massive. That's offshore fishing at its best. We're doing a show here in southern Saskatchewan, and we have hooked up to a giant, oh, look at this, oh, he dropped it. Southern Saskatchewan, and the fishing has been phenomenal. We decided we're going to take a little bit of time and we're going to do some offshore stuff. Well, this next month, fish are going to start migrating out of these shallow back bays, and of course then you're going to start catching some fish in the deeper parts of the lake. Spinners are going to start really kicking in hard here. Crankbaits, rigging, jigging, you name it, you're going to catch walleye in Saskatchewan if you come out here. And pike, lakers, and all the other stuff that swims in our great province.
Help your engine run better and last longer with Seafoam motor treatment. Seafoam is safe and easy to use in all types of cars and trucks. Just pour it in your fuel tank. When added to fuel, Seafoam works to clean and lubricate your entire fuel system. Helps engines start easier and run smoother. Reduces long-term engine wear and helps prevent costly engine problems. Make the proven choice. Seafoam motor treatment. Available at Fleet Farm.
Like many of you, I've had back issues.
From the pounding waves of Lake Erie.
To over 30 years of competitive angling.
And a lifetime on the water, but not anymore.
Smooth Moves changed the game.
It's a must-have for me and my clients.
It's like my boat is floating on air.
They're easy to install.
Fully adjustable.
It makes a day on the water a whole lot more comfortable.
Smooth your ride with Smooth Moves.
Looking for the perfect fishing vacation? Leech Lake, Minnesota. There's over 112,000 acres of water to explore with fantastic walleye, bass, pike, panfish, and trophy muskies. The fishing opportunities are endless. Leech Lake has it all with over 30 resorts, lodges, campgrounds, and hotels line its pristine shores. Plan your trip. It's Minnesota's original up-north vacation destination.
Simple, fast, and easy. This automatic launching and loading system on boat-to-trailer.com makes unloading and loading your boat a breeze on both roller or bunk trailer configurations. This system is a simple one-bolt install. No more hanging over the boat, no more cranking in the boat, and no more wet feet. Speed your boat ramp time by visiting boat-to-trailer.com.
And now it's time for our cool products brought to you by Fleet Farm. We're going to start out with a Lakes and Rivers tackle bag. Now this is a medium-sized bag. You can see I'll open it up. You have 4 tackle boxes inside, lots of storage on the side as well as the front, handles and the shoulder strap. You go into Fleet Farm, you'll see actually a lot of different options, and this is a great one from Lakes and Rivers. And next, a couple micro bait options from Rapala. Now you might be familiar with the bigger ripping wraps. Well, these are the ultralight ripping wraps, and they also have smaller size slab wraps. These are great for big bluegill and big crappie. You'll be surprised at how big of a fish, when we're talking about panfish, will strike a bait like this. No live bait needed, just cast this out and reel it in. And next, a couple options from Northland Tackle. First is the Thumper Crappie King. Now this has a nice blade on the bottom of it, twister tail on the back, nice bright colors, and it's all in one. So you just cast it out, slowly reel it in, and you'll be catching slab crappies in no time. And another option from Northland Tackle for bigger fish, this is the Mimic Minnow Spin. You can see this is already pre-rigged, so this is great. You can fish this right out of the package. Nice boot tail design on this, strong hook, the Mimic Minnow Spin from Northland Tackle. And next, a couple options from Big Bite Baits. First off is the Lindner Panfish Special. This is a nice pre-rigged bait. You see nice bright colors. It has a fuzzy tail from Big Bite Baits, the Lindner Panfish Special. And also from Big Bite Baits, the Kamikaze Swim On. This has a great action. You can see a little split tail design there. Put this on a smaller jig head. You can fish it under a float. You can also jig it back. This one is 2.5 inches long. Great colors. This is perfect for big crappie, the Kamikaze Swim On from Big Bite Baits. Up next, a great jig series from VMC. This is the Moon Eye Jig Series. They come from 1/32 ounce all the way up to 1 ounce. You can put soft plastics on here. You can put live bait on here. You can fish those lighter Moon Eye jigs underneath the bobber. You can also cast them out and jig it back. The Moon Eye Jig from VMC. And for fishing line from Suffolk, this is the 131 braid. This has 13 different strands. It has a single strand of gore in the middle of it. And this is 6 pound. I fish this a lot because you can cast small baits very, very far, and the near zero stretch ensures a great hook set. And the design of this makes sure that the line is very, very round, so when you tie a knot, it is strong, and also the tensile strength of it is very consistent. 131 braid from Suffolk. It is warm here in the upper Midwest in the dog days of summer, so keeping protected from the sun is very important. from Blackfish. This is their Sun Gator. 4-way stretch on here. This is very comfortable. And that's important when it's hot outside. Keep you protected from the sun and also comfortable all day. From Blackfish, the Sun Gator. And next up from Dakota Lithium, they have a great series of 36-volt lithium marine batteries. Now these come with an 11-year warranty. That's quite incredible. They're also half the weight of lead acid batteries, and also they hold their voltage much better, and they charge 5 times faster. Dakota Lithium 36-volt lithium batteries. And lastly, from Smooth Moves, this is a new mounting plate for both the Smooth Moves Ultra and Smooth Moves Air. Now this can easily fit inside a Lund Pro V bass, as seen here. Easily installs, also adjusts very easily, and holds up to 300 pounds. This thing is an absolute back saver in big water and big waves from Smooth Moves. Be sure to shop online anytime at fleetfarm.com. You can also visit your local Fleet Farm store. And right now it's time for our technique of the week.
So everybody has their favorite way of cleaning fish, whether it's with an electric knife or a standard blade. For doing panfish, I prefer using a standard bladed knife, and what works best for me is either a small knife or a real thin bladed knife like this Bubba Blade Whiffy. So the first step is to pull the fin back, cut behind the gill, down to the backbone, and then you run along the backbone, then push the knife through, go out the tail, cut back to the rib cage while pressing down, and then you just go around the edges here. And there's one side, and complete the same on the other side. To the rib cage, on the backbone, go around the rib cage, and you got 2 pieces. So after that, what I like to do, skin it, and then there's, on all the fish, there's a little row of bones here just above the rib cage that we just went around. They're called the epipleural bones. And on a bigger fish like this, you can feel them and they usually don't fry out. So I'll take this knife and run it and cut this little V out like so. Cut those bones out, and there you have a done panfish fillet.
Well, we hope you enjoyed today's show. As you can see, there's more to crappie fishing than just live bait. Now, on next week's show, we're going to be shifting gears to spinner baits. Now, this is more than just bass spinner baits. We're talking about all blade baits for a lot of different kinds of fish. And as always, here on AnglingBuzz, we want to help remind you to help stop the spread of aquatic invasive species. Anytime you're leaving any body of water, remember, clean, drain, dry. Well, thank you for joining us this week. I'm Troy Lindner, and we'll see you next time.